Boom.
We are previewing the American Football Conference, and joining me is one of the best in the DFS game. It's Justin MacMahan. You know him from Daily Fantasy Insider. You also know him because he got a giant check from Boom Fantasy. What's going on, Bouse?
Hey, I'm excited for the AFC, more excited for the NFC. If you haven't watched the NFC video, I'm going to tell you before this one even starts that the NFC one is better because I think there's really exploitable guys there. There's some exploitable guys here in the AFC, but I'm a big Redskins fan, so the NFC is my domain. What about you? Which one do you prefer?
Justin, Boom Fantasy contests are like my children, and it is so rude to make someone choose between their children. The first question in this $100,000 jackpot contest available on Boom Fantasy for the next week, which we will kind of roll into our AFC preview. The first question is more passing yards, Phillip Rivers or Deshaun Watson? Let me hear it.
This one I think is pretty easy. This one I like a lot, and I'm excited to take Phillip Rivers and just carry on with my Deshaun Watson bashing because I think Deshaun Watson's numbers could not be any less sustainable from last year.
That's interesting. I didn't know you were a Watson basher. That it makes sense. I mean, regression is obviously in the cards for him. But let me ask you: is that opinion of Watson, does that trickle down into all of your other picks this season?
I have zero Houston offense on my season-long fantasy team. I would have taken Lamar Miller if he fell. I would have taken DeAndre Hopkins round 2. But like I said, there's people out there who are so high on these guys that you'll never get them at a steal, most likely. So I ended up with none of them.
I think that this is probably the easiest question of the slate. What do you think?
Oh yeah, this is the one where you hit this one and you're like, I'm feeling really good.
Bang.
Now transitioning to question 2, this is where I'm already like, what do I do? Because it's Le'Veon Bell, Kareem Hunt, Leonard Fournette, and LaShawn McCoy rushing yards. I'm not going to pick McCoy.
No.
But I have Fournette, Bell, and Hunt so close to each other. Here's an interesting stat for you on Leonard Fournette.
Yes.
Last year in the NFL, when all players, their speed was measured while carrying the football, if I gave you 50 guesses who was the fastest player in the NFL while carrying the ball, you would never guess that it's Leonard Fournette.
Beautiful.
The top 5 sprint speed times recorded while carrying the ball is all 5 Leonard Fournette.
All 5?
All 5.
I would have guessed maybe he's top 5, but all 5 sprint feet?
All 5 of the fastest times recorded are all Leonard Fournette.
What?
And he's known as a bruiser. So if the fastest player on the field is also going to steamroll you, it just seems hard to imagine that he doesn't lead the league in rushing.
As far as it comes to straight carries, I want to pick Fournette. Even when the Jaguars are down by 2 scores, handoffs to Fournette are still a big part of their offense. That being said, when you talk about the overall speed, I also I know Leonard Fournette is fast, but I also don't see him as a breakaway runner. Hunt won the rushing title last year with a horrible stretch in the middle of the season.
Right.
And when I look at Bell and Hunt, I look at burst runners, I look at breakaway runners. Hunt's speed.
That's why I had to start with that stat, right? Because I was the same
100%.
way.
You immediately took the stat that refutes everything I'm going to say, and that's why you're better.
I'm sorry about that, but
don't apologize. You get giant checks.
Exactly. That's why I brought it up, because when I first looked at this category, I thought, I'm going with Bell because I expect Hunt to regress and Bell breaks off chunk yards.
Yeah.
Then I thought, I actually think Leonard Fournette is the best chunk yardage running back in the NFL. And I have him projected for the second most carries after Elliott. So it's just like, well, how do I not pick Fournette? So
Absolutely.
This is a tough one, but I think most people will go with Bell, which is also partly why I'm going Fournette, because if you go with all favorites, then you may not win by yourself.
There you go. Next question, receiving yards. We got some names here. Juju Smith-Schuster, Travis Kelce, Demaryius Thomas, Jarvis Landry. No A receivers. There's no elite tier. We took a step down, made it a little bit trickier.
I have 2 of these guys in this category are like top 5 in my bust list for wide receivers going into season-long drafts. I have Juju and I have Jarvis Landry as busts, as I don't think
huge busts.
I don't think either of them are going to pan out the way.
Fortnite has never helped one player's fantasy stock more than Juju Smith-Schuster. It's unbelievable. I understand the offense. I understand his role in the offense. I understand that he is the third option.
He's literally
third option.
he's Ted Ginn in an
Thank
offense
you.
that's worse than the offense Ted Ginn plays for.
Yes,
So if you want Ted Ginn, then just draft Ted Ginn in the last round
of
and don't
course.
pick Juju Smith-Schuster. I love the kid. He's awesome. He's the most likable player in the
I
NFL.
want to be his friend.
Yeah, I want to be his friend
Yeah.
too, but I can like him and try to be friends with him without having him on
Thank
my
you.
fantasy team.
Thank
So anyway, this category to me comes down to Kelsey or Demaryius Thomas. And until I see Patrick Mahomes really dominating, I think I'm just going to go with Demaryius Thomas because, in my opinion, Case Keenum is a proven entity. I know Case Keenum is a decent, not great quarterback. That's what Demaryius Thomas has been working with in the past, and he's put up solid numbers. So I have Thomas projected just slightly above Travis Kelce this year. But I think for the safety of this question, I'd much rather just pick Demaryius and not take the risk that the Chiefs offense just doesn't work out.
Yeah, I'm locking in 120 targets for Demaryius. I hope you're okay with that. You okay with that?
Okay. Yeah, fine. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't see anybody else matching that workload in this group. Do you have Kelsey as tight end 2 this year behind Gronk?
Yeah, with Ertz right behind him.
Okay.
But really, I have Jordan Reed as by far the best tight end pick. I mean, if that guy doesn't get hurt, which is a huge if, but if he's healthy,
of all ifs,
then he could be really good.
Never has an if been ifed quite like if Jordan Reed doesn't get hurt. Most catches. This is where all the big boys went. They all went to most catches. DeAndre Hopkins, Keenan Allen, Tyreek Hill, Delaney Walker. Okay, so not all the big boys, but a couple of big boys. Why are Delaney Walker and Tyreek Hill here, Justin?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what they're doing here. I think they're just here to fill up the space, but it's really Keenan Allen versus DeAndre Hopkins, obviously. We talked about expected regression in Houston, and we talked about how the Chargers have a great offense. So I bet we're on the same page here. I have Keenan Allen.
Yeah, this one got real easy in a hurry. Once you break it all down and once you think about where you feel about the season breaking out, 100% understand Deshaun Watson's ceiling. 100% don't believe it's a 15-week, a 16-week thing. But Phillip Rivers and Keenan Allen, that's the hookup, man.
Yeah.
That's one of the best QB wide receiver combos we got. And Keenan Allen had that stretch last season where he was absolutely unstoppable. And that was without Mike Williams.
Yeah, I mean, I have Keenan Allen as having the most receptions in the NFL. I have him for half a reception more than Antonio Brown.
Nice.
But there's no way I wouldn't pick Keenan Allen unless Antonio Brown was in the category, and then it would be a tough call. But for me, this is for sure worth picking Keenan Allen.
Total touchdowns is the next question. We got 2 of the top players in the league at their position, Justin. Antonio Brown and Gronk going head-to-head, along with DeAndre Hopkins and A.J. Green in the mix. What do you say, Justin? What do you have on this one?
Well, I'm not picking A.J. Green.
Oh, okay.
Because he plays for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, that makes sense. All right.
Not immediately.
Analysis.
Technically, DeAndre Hopkins is projected number 1. He's, according to Vegas and most projection systems, he is ranked first in touchdown receptions, but I don't buy it. I do not have him number 1. I have him close, but I have Antonio Brown number 1, as I don't think Rob Gronkowski will play 16 games. And Antonio Brown has been a model of consistency, and I think another 10 touchdown season is about what I'd project him for. And Gronk and Hopkins could totally kill you on this question, but I think Brown is the one that has the highest floor. And then from there, you just have to hope the other guys don't break out.
No respect for the Madden curse, Justin. Antonio Brown's on the cover of Madden, okay? And he Facebook Lived in the locker room, so he's a distraction boy too. But the Madden curse will affect all my gambling. No, Antonio Brown's the most consistent NFL player of our era. It's actually ridiculous. So I think double-digit touchdowns is a lock. I would say that if you told me, if I went to a psychic reader, because they got those in New York, and they said, Rick, Rob Gronkowski will play a full 16-game schedule for the Patriots this year, how many touchdowns do you think he has?
13.
See, that's the 2. I think that he can easily finish top of the league in touchdowns. I mean, definitely the top tight end, but 13 would be enough to lead the league in TD receptions, right?
Probably.
This is passing touchdowns. And we got Roethlisberger, Rivers, Andy Dalton, and Deshaun Watson. And I feel like we're kind of rolling in. We're folding in our theories for this season. We're kneading this dough to make a beautiful AFC pizza pie because we've already discussed our thoughts here. You
really have to correlate if you want to win on Boom.
Yeah.
And don't just trust me because I've won before, because anyone could win, but and people who have sucked have won. I've seen it happen. But This is proved fact. This is not just my opinion. If you want to win, your picks need to correlate. So if you've been picking against Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins to this point, then don't pick Deshaun Watson here on this last question. Conversely, if you're a big Texans backer this year, then this is you could win, boom. You could win $100,000 if you're right. Like every single question, it seems, gives you the opportunity to back the Texans offense this year. And I don't know why Boom is baiting you with that, but if you really think the Texans are going to have a huge year, then this is the perfect contest for you. Or if you, like us, and you think that the Chargers offense will have a really good year, you could take Phillip Rivers, or you could just take the favorite, who is Ben Roethlisberger.
Yes.
And then you're still stacking Ben and Brown on a few questions, but you're not picking Juju. So, or you are. I don't know. Maybe you like. Maybe you. There's really some opportunities for correlation.
Yeah, it's good.
And I just wanted to point that out before we finish the first 6 questions, because 1 through 6. There are opportunities to totally stack entire offenses, which gives you huge upside to actually take down this $100,000 contest.
Yeah.
When we first started, I said that this wasn't my favorite to the NFC, but as I think about it more, there is really this opportunity.
Oh, he's coming around.
Yeah, I may end up.
Hey, Steve, he's coming around. Here we got him.
I think I may go with Rivers here and finish off kind of correlating all my plays together. What are you doing?
I think Rivers could be the best quarterback in fantasy this year. I think that the Chargers could roll, and I think the schedule supports it. They got one of the easiest schedules in football. With Deshaun Watson, you're taking that risk. There's a ton of correlation. Full disclosure, what's stopping you from making one entry that correlates with Watson and one that doesn't? Because you think the one correlating with Watson's a waste of money, right?
I don't want to throw away $3. Yeah,
of course. Get yourself a latte. No, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. This is why I'm bad at this. I'm bad at Boom. But I hope you get it. So I agree. So one thing that I've been reading about late into the season, we sift through all the hot takes and all the projections and all the rankings. I'm coming around slightly on the Bengals. That's crazy to some people, but I don't think that they're going to be this complete tire fire, especially the way they started the season last year.
Joe Mixon show. I am so excited. I traded up in my draft to get Joe Mixon.
To get Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
Well, I love seeing him line up in the slot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That looks good. I mean, he looks like Levy. I think I have 2 Le'Veon Bells on my team. I got 1 first overall and 1 in the second round. Ben Roethlisberger passing touchdowns. I think if you're picking Ben on the last question, this is now a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
Because if you put him at an average number, then
he can't win 6.
Last question.
Yeah, he can't win question 6. You're right.
So that's another reason why I'm going Rivers, because I'm not picking Watson. I love the Red Rocket, but I'm not going to do it. Especially if I don't have Green for receiving touchdowns, then I can't justify picking Dalton unless I think Tyler Eifert's going to score 12. So
no thanks.
And I expect Joe Mixon to take all of them on the ground.
Exactly.
So anyway, I'm going with Ben, like 28, like exactly what he had last year. Just go with a very average projection for Ben, as I don't think much changes in his situation. And then then the nice thing about that is that if you're right on that, you probably hit question 6 too, if Phillip Rivers can go over 28.
Yeah, of course.
You do hit it if Rivers goes over, because I don't think the other guys are going for 30. So that's my strategy here. And that's a big reason why I think you don't want to pick Ben in question 6, just because it makes it too difficult.
Roethlisberger last 5 years since 2013, 28, 32, 21 when he was hurt, 29, and 28. So this is where he's lived. 28 would be the third time he's hit it in 5 years. So 28 is a totally acceptable number for him. That offensive line is great, but do you think that you're under the impression that they're going to work Bell into the ground, right?
I would think that they should. I mean, they practically already do, and there's no reason not to just totally drive him into the ground. So I totally agree.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 26. I think that it's not 100% Ben's best year. I do think that the Ravens are a good team, and the Browns aren't the worst team. I think the Steelers underwhelm in a lot of situations, and this is a prime spot for Steelers underwhelming. The last question for the AFC slate is the man, Tom Brady, passing touchdowns over the last 5 years, 25, 33, 36, 28, and 32. So the last question between you and 100K is how many passing touchdowns for Tom Brady this year. Tom Brady is going to lose Julian Edelman in the first 4 games. You think that matters?
Does it matter? Yes. Does it drastically affect my projection? No. But I'm going a little lower on Brady, as I don't think that I think they have so many running backs, and they prefer to run the ball clearly. So not only does that take away some opportunity for Brady to throw when they get to the goal line, but here's another interesting thing to consider. The Patriots are kind of like, they like wasting time. Like, they actually just like to kill the clock during the game. And their defense is kind of like a bend, don't break defense, in my opinion. So
no, 100%. It's not even an opinion.
Okay,
the Patriots live off you settling for 3 points. If
Exactly.
anybody who thinks that they're winning a football game kicking field goals against the Patriots is an idiot. It's what they want.
I mean, they kind of play off a little, and they give you some small gains and to avoid the big ones. And then if they're running the ball a ton on offense, I just think like the amount of actual times Brady will throw the ball this year will just be less than people think. So I'm going with like 28 touchdowns for Tom Brady, which I think is probably below what he's projected for. But I just don't see them. I don't see him throwing the ball the volume that the other top QBs will end up throwing. Mm-hmm. I think Brady easily could have finished at 28-29 last year.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit. I actually thought it was a little bit of an anomaly that he even got to 32 just by watching the way that they played the game last year. I thought it was actually a little surprising. I also don't think you can expect them to play 16 games again. Like, if they have the opportunity to rest them at the end of the year, I think that they would.
Yeah,
so
of course.
If you give them 15 games instead of 16, which I think is usually a good projection to go with, then you're at 28-29 for last season.
Awesome. Well, there you have it. 8 questions stand between you and $100,000. Less than a week left for these contests. DFI CEO. Justin, why don't you tell them about Daily Fantasy Insider? Give them one little plug for the road.
All right. DFI, we've got war rooms this year. We've got over 40 analysts that are going to be working on our team. We are so pumped for the NFL season. We've got our platforms. We just updated our website a few weeks ago for the new season. Everything that you need for the slate. You could build a lineup in 5 minutes in the war room. Right when you log in, you'll just see all these picks at the top. And those are the players that we've deemed to be worth picking that week. We've got the must-haves. We lock in some other guys for you. We write up all these breakdowns telling you who you should definitely have, who you don't want to have. If you're playing on DraftKings, FanDuel, Boom, anything like that, we're there to help you. You can submit your questions and ask our analysts. And you can also get season-long help. You can ask us start-sit questions, waiver wire questions. All that is $20 a month. We're one of the cheapest teams in the industry that you can become a part of. So we'd love to have you this NFL season.
It's a great deal and a great team, and you'll see DFI contributors throughout the season with us on Boom. That's it for our AFC preview. That's it for our conference previews. Let's buckle up and have a good season. Justin, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
All right, guys. We'll see you soon. Adios.